Hole in a Box by C.S.R.
Chapter 6. Trying Again. How long had it been since Marla last saw Jarvis? Weeks? Months? Years? Centuries? Only 5 days. And yet, she felt this unbearable staking pain in her chest that felt worse than enduring a millennia of torture. Marla took Darlene's advice and redrew her gift for Jarvis. On top of that, she drew one for Darlene as well. They both were supposedly finished 4 days ago, but every day, Marla would look at them and add finishing touches to her raw masterpieces. She was heavy with anticipation and worry, thinking that her beautiful world of Ytredesma might have all been in her imagination, a dream, or a set of fair-weather friends, just what she needed. However, within her old bag, Marla reminded herself that the world was real through the top hat that she had hidden inside it. She kept her drawings in that bag too, so that other children wouldn't try to purposely wreck her treasures. Marla found herself more indoors nowadays. It was becoming summer, so most children would go outside to play. The orphanage also got very hot inside, so the children went out as an attempt to avoid the heat as well. So Marla stayed in as an attempt to avoid them. But on the 5th day of Jarvis's departure, Marla ran into Ashley in the hallway. She was alone, which was unusual since she followed people around like a baby duck. The two girls stood very still in silence for a while, exchanging eye contact. Suddenly, Ashley started to speak.
Look, the other day wasn't personal.
I'm sorry,
Marla cut her off.
but I don't want you to try and be my friend. All I want is an apology.
What? I'm trying to be nice and you start acting rude. I don't have to treat you kindly.
Why don't you? Why do you treat me differently and say and do mean things to me?
Because you're weird.
But how does that make it okay? It's not like I'm hurting anyone by being different. Can't give a real answer?
No, I can.
But Ashley didn't answer the question and asked,
Well, why don't you want to be my friend? You don't have any friends, so why?
Because this isn't the first time that this happened to me. You're not the first one to be curious. When we made eye contact the other day, I saw sympathy in your eyes, and you must have seen the hope in mine. Did it thrill you to murder that hope?
What?
Ashley looked very wounded and offended.
I know I saw something, and then that wasn't ill will.
You're just being mean.
Marla could hear tears in Ashley's voice.
Oh, don't start. I'm not being mean. Do you even know what it's like to be on the receiving side of real harshness and cruelty? The only reason you have to cry is because you can't stand the person that you are. I don't want you to be my friend because you won't be my real friend, at least not for long. Sooner or later you just leave me behind when the going gets tough. That's how it always is.
Suddenly, Marla was the one to break out in tears. She had never done anything like this. Her heart was beating so fast and she was getting lightheaded.
You don't understand.
Ashley just stared Marla in bewilderment. She was tearing up too, but didn't understand why either of them were crying.
I do understand.
Marla's voice started to rise.
Then give me an example.
Taken aback by Marla's emotions, Ashley calmly said,
Jessica talks about how I'm not as pretty as her.
That doesn't count. One person's saying she's prettier. What, does she throw things at you and ruin items that are precious to you?
No, but it is mean.
You don't understand. Even talking like that with me, I'd consider that nice. Because no one has ever been nice to me. So to even consider that I could be pretty, but not as pretty as someone popular, is extraordinarily nice. What I deal with is feeling like I'm not even a person, feeling like I'm worthless and will amount to nothing. I have nothing. Anything I get is taken from me or ruined on purpose just to hurt me. I guess I should feel lucky or special that people devote so much time to hate on me and make me feel miserable. I should feel so damn special because I feel nothing.
Marla's heart was beating so fast it started to hurt. Suddenly, She got a loss of breath and fell to the floor in tears. She tried using the wall as support.
I think I'm having an anxiety attack.
Marla read about them and figured that this was one, since she had an unfathomable amount of anxiety due to her conversation.
What?
Ashley rushed over to Marla. She felt so confused and helpless.
What is that? What do I do?
Marla's breathing was uncontrollable, and she had a hard time speaking. She just shook her head. Getting an adult would have been an appropriate answer, but Marla didn't trust human adults anymore. She looked up at Ashley with pleading eyes and managed to speak.
Please, don't leave me.
Ashley shook her head in incertitude and ran off, leaving Marla alone on the floor. She called back.
I'm going to get an adult.
Marla watched a long-haired brunette disappear from view down the hall. Everything was getting so blurry, and she was feeling overheated and stressed. Feeling no control over her body, Marla was overcome with darkness and passed out.
Hey, freak.
A voice called from the blackness. Marla was in a dark place. It wasn't a room or a place. It was nothingness. The floor seemed to be water, for when you moved, there were ripples. But Marla didn't feel wet or like she was going to sink. She was wearing a white dress and had white and yellow flowers in her hair, mainly daisies and lilies. She looked around and couldn't see anything but the ripples on the floor.
Hello?
Marla called out.
Yeah, you. What are you doing here? Why do you still even breathe? Because I'm alive. I think. No, you're not. No one wants you. So why don't you die? What?
Marla couldn't see the owner of the voice, but could tell where they were based on the ripples she saw and the direction the voice was coming from.
That's not true. Yes, it is.
Suddenly, a massive number of familiar voices from all around Marla had said in unison,
We all agree.
causing ripples to appear from everywhere.
I know I definitely don't want you around. Life is hard with you here. For as long as you live, I have to suffer. We all do.
Marla squinted to see if she could spot who was speaking. Eventually, she was able to make up a figure of someone her height.
Why am I causing you to suffer? Who are you?
Marla asked. Marla ran up to the voice and turned them around to look upon their face. To her dismay, the owner of the voice looked exactly like her, only she was a lot paler, wearing a black dress, and had bruises all around her neck. There were no flowers in her hair, but Marla saw dead carnations and roses all around her feet.
You're such a fool. You can't even recognize your own voice.
Marla fell back in shock.
She was wrong, though. You have a friend.
The girl in the black dress stepped a bit to the side. Hanging above the two girls was a noose that extended so far up, it seemed to have no end.
No. Come on. You know we'll be better off if it happens.
Suddenly, a rush of hands wrapped around Marla and started to push her towards the noose.
No! I'm not ready! No!
She kept screaming and fussing, but her kicking around wasn't helping her. The hands kept on pushing her closer and closer until they wrapped the noose around her neck.
See?
Jacob's voice rang into Marla's ears.
I told you she was sleeping in the hallway.
Marla's eyes fluttered, and she no longer saw darkness. She saw Jacob and Miss Keffler, one of the adults in charge of the girls, standing over her. Under his breath, Jacob let out,
Weirdo.
but then looked up at Miss Keffler and said,
That's not a good thing, to be sleeping here. It's unsanitary and means that she's been skipping out on chores. I'm concerned she's becoming a wild child.
Miss Keffler quickly spoke the moment she made eye contact with Marla.
Good heavens, child. Why are you sleeping on the floor? You missed lunch, chores, and dinner.
Marla's voice was soft, but she tried to speak.
Where's Ashley?
That doesn't matter right now. Come on, get up. We're taking you to the headmaster.
Without warning, Marla started to cry. She didn't expect Ashley to abandon her for hours like this when she was having a medical crisis. Marla thought that she was better than that.
Come, dear. No use fussing over it now. What's done is done, and your tears aren't going to get you out of trouble.
But Marla couldn't help but continue to cry.
All right. You don't have to see the headmaster. Just don't let me catch you doing this again.
Really?
Jacob exclaimed.
You're letting her get away with it?
Just this once. Come on, Marla.
Miss Keffler took Marla to her room and left her as she kept crying. Marla climbed into bed and sat there. All the girls kept yelling at Marla to shut up so they could sleep. But Marla couldn't stop and cried all night long. But Marla couldn't stop and cried all night long.